Hello everyone, I'm Kibitz and welcome to a new Satisfactory reaction video on new stuff about Update 5. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd be here. After last week's big reveal, I was like, they've played their hands. That's the whole 9 yards, the whole enchilada for Update 5. Surprisingly, I was wrong. And they just released a huge new update video about quality of life features they're adding, and it's like, whoa, bud. So I reacted to it during one of my Twitch live streams, and I'll just show you my live reaction here. Then talk a little bit about the game and some future thoughts I had too.
Hey everyone, my name's Jason. I'm a community manager at Coffee Stain Studios, and today we've got a pretty cool video going to show off a bunch of new quality of life build system changes that are coming in Update 5 that we haven't actually showed off yet. There are a lot of small things that I feel like probably just add up in the gameplay experience, but they're not like big enough for a single video on its own, you know? So we're just gonna throw a bunch in together, and that should be really cool. Let's get into the video. Improvement number 1 is going to be ramp snapping improvements. So like, you know when you make ramps and you wanna make a big ramp, you gotta do a ramp, and then you put like a foundation next to it, and then you put a ramp on top of that other ramp, right? Well, we've made an adjustment now so that ramps actually snap diagonally. So you can just very easily look up to where you wanna go and just make the ramps now. You know, you might still wanna fill it in with foundations afterwards, but this is just a nifty little quality of life feature that should make building ramps
Oh my god!
Number 2 is going to be Zooping. Now, we've already talked about Zooping, you know what Zooping is, but I thought we'd just show off a few more Zooping demonstrations and some things that we didn't actually cover in the video. So in the video that we introduced Zooping in a few weeks ago, I showed that you could zoop horizontally with foundations and horizontally with walls. A lot of people were like, can you do vertically? You can. You can zoop vertically and horizontally with both foundations and walls, making things pretty easy there. And of course, zooping is a maximum of 10 items, 10 buildables at a time, so there's a little bit of a limitation, but you know, that's zooping. Now you can also zoop other things. You can zoop fences, for example. You can also zoop stackable poles, for example, and hypertube entrances. I don't know who needs to zoop hypertube entrances, but you can zoop that too. There are more things that you can zoop. Now, actually, this goes back to what we just talked about before about the ramps. You can zoop the ramps as well. You can zoop them horizontally, of course, but you can also zoop them into the sky. Diagonally. You can zoop diagonally with the ramps. Now, that makes building ramps really easy. It's pretty cool. A little bit overpowered, maybe. I don't know, but have fun with that. Number 3 is going to be more freedom with stairs, okay? So some people use stairs, and now that there's just a little bit more freedom with how you snap them and where they can snap on the stairs. So here's just an example of me just randomly snapping stairs in different positions, making what I consider to be art. If you don't like it, you just don't understand it or me, and that's a you problem. You should work on that. The art is beautiful, objectively. All right, number 4 is going to be kind of similar to the stair thing, but now you can snap walkways to walkways that exist on buildings. So an example here is the constructors now have these snapping points for walkways. So you can just build out like various walkways there, build out a network between your constructors if you want. Here's an example of like the walkway snapping that you can do with the drone stations, for example. I'm just connecting two drone stations there. And then there's another example of like some walkways that you can do with the particle accelerator. There are other buildings that have walkways that can be snapped to as well, like on train stations, for example. Yeah, so have some fun with that. Just, you know, experiment, see what works. And yeah, kind of curious as to what you can build. Now with the whole soft clearance thing, you can sort of clip walkways into the bounds of these buildings. So yeah, have fun. Number 5 is going to be that you can build pillars down from train lines, from railways, okay? So, you know, a lot of people have been wanting pillars for their train lines. What? We sort of showed something like that off in one of the cosmetic showcases a few weeks ago. But actually,
get out of town
here now to make it easy for you to like just take a small pillar, for example, look at the train line, and you can just snap from it and build down. You can just zoop down to the ground, and now you can just make really easy you know, train pillars basically for your railway.
This is too much.
Pretty nifty. Something people wanted for a while. Number 6 is going to be additional rotation for foundations that are snapping. So before you could only snap rotations
you know,
flush with each other. You can now very easily rotate that to 45 degrees if you wish and snap like that. Now, not only that, but if foundations are being placed on top of another foundation, you can hold control for fine rotation. right? So that's pretty cool, and makes it really easy to build, circular things or these kind of like weird spire things if you ever wanted to do that as well. Now, this is something that's been like a long time coming. A lot of people really wanted this to be a feature in the base game, and now it is. I think a lot of people are going to love it. Number 7 is a change to the way that things snap to each other, for example, with buildings or conveyor belts or whatever. So now
this is incredible.
Can snap to inputs and outputs. So you can have buildings that have inputs and outputs, and they can snap to the input and output of other buildings. They also take what input it is into account. So it'll line up pipe input outputs to other pipe input outputs, or conveyor input outputs to other conveyor input outputs. So not only is it buildings that snap, but also like conveyor belts, for example, they can snap now to inputs and outputs of other buildings, making it really easy to line up your conveyor belts to other buildings. Now, this is a really cool one. So like conveyor splitters and mergers now snap to building input and outputs along the conveyor belt. So this is really nice to place this. You can snap those buildings after the fact. And the same thing applies to pipes and pipe junctions.
Oh my god!
So I think this is going to be a pretty useful feature that's going to be...
Chat, I'm Zooping IRL!
Number 8 is going to be kind of similar to the conveyor snapping things, but conveyor belts now... This is just a kind of weird thing, but conveyor belts can now be snapped to the conveyor poles that they're attached to, which basically what that means is if you hold control, you can make a straight conveyor belt now. So it snaps in line with the direction of that conveyor pole. Same thing goes with pipes and pipe supports as well. So now it's really easy to make straight conveyor belts, on like freeform ground. So number 9 is going to be the ability to modify your hologram colors to your liking. So in the user interface menu now in the game, it's going to be hologram color, dismantle hologram color, hard clearance hologram color, soft clearance hologram color as well. Yeah, so if for any reason you didn't like the existing hologram colors, you didn't like the way that they looked, you think you can make them look a little better, or maybe you just have issues with specific colors in general, you can now have control over how your holograms look.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So number 10, the final one on this list, is a bit of a big one, and that is a few weeks back when we were showing off, when we...
Wait, the last ones, I need a second to breathe. Okay. This is overwhelming. This is like all of the best quality of life things I could imagine. There's one more thing I'm hoping for, but dude, who cares at this point?
Introduce soft clearance to you guys, and we showed off that there's soft clearance and hard clearance, but buildings have hard clearance, and so they cannot clip into the bounds of other buildings. Even if those bounds are really big and have a lot of empty space, you can't use that empty space with other buildings, right? So the example that I showed was constructors trying to encroach on the clearance of a particle accelerator, even though it didn't clip into the particle accelerator. Another example that I showed was like a foundation bridge over the top of a coal generator, because a coal generator has a really big bounding box with a lot of empty space, but you can't build any buildings in that space, right? So we were working on this at the time, but we didn't know if it was going to be in Update 5 or not, but I can confirm now that this new feature will be in the game, and that is complex clearance. So certain buildings have a complex clearance to them now, so that basically what that means is the big offenders like the coal generator, like a particle accelerator, and some others now have this complex clearance to them, which means that you can actually encroach in those empty spaces now. They still have hard clearance, so you can't encroach on them. You can't build two hard clearance buildings clipping into each other, but you can now build in that empty space. As you can see here, I'm putting constructors over the top of that empty space of the coal generator. You can also see that I'm putting constructors kind of just around and inside, hugging the particle accelerator, and even the space elevator has complex clearance as well.
Wow,
so
really?
I could build constructors kind of over the arms here. The space elevator took up a lot of empty space before, but now that has complex clearance, and so now you can build a little bit more freely around that. Code. Not all buildings have complex clearance, but the ones that will have complex clearance are going to be the coal generator, fuel generator, nuclear power plant, train platforms, train station, refinery, particle accelerator, resource sink, and the space elevator. So yeah, that's going to be pretty nice. A lot of people gave a lot of feedback on that as well, and you're a little disappointed that you couldn't use that empty space, but now you can. So yeah, those are 10 new quality of life build system features coming in Update 5 to Satisfactory. Satisfactory Update 5 will be launching on the experimental branch on the 26th of October, so that's like less than 2 weeks from now. So y'all can play with that on the experimental branch when that drops. I hope you're excited for these changes. If you are, leave a like, consider subscribing because we put out videos every week. Yeah, so that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll catch you all later. Next week, later, who knows, whatever. Bye.
This is awesome, chat. Oh my god. It's so good. It's the one thing I wish they would add. It's the switching the directions on the conveyor lifts, but like, come on. Where is it? The circular foundation things, where you can have them be like 45 degrees. Like,
and makes it really easy to build, circular things or
so
these kind of like weird
now.
spire things if you ever.
This for trains? Are you looking at this, chat, with your eyes? Your actual eyes? This can make the world look so much better. Gates, imagine this, except just as a decoration, like along the roof. Oh, chat. This.
Constructors now have these snapping points for walkways.
This is awesome. You can actually just connect the walkways to the machines. I did this with my nuclear power plant, and it looks amazing. And now everything can look this good. So TLDR, pretty freaking cool. Anyway, those are all my live reactions, and now I've had some time to sit down and think about this stuff, and fundamentally what Update 5 is doing is changing just the formula of gameplay throughout all of Satisfactory. Because you've kind of set up the smelter arrays the same way you always have, the same thing with constructors, refineries, etc, etc. And now, with soft clearance, the platforms especially, and all the other changes they added to Update 5, it's gonna be like playing a whole new game. Like, imagine playing with the clunky controls of an N64 controller, right? And then going to like a PS5 controller. It's kind of like that. And not only that, just like the thought process of building has completely changed. Because everyone here has like made a smelter array 1,000 times. But now we can set up new designs. I could make something like the steel engine, except even more efficiently. It's gonna be amazing, guys. And another thing I wanted to address was a lot of people are wondering, where is my Let's Play series? I haven't uploaded a Let's Play episode in Satisfactory for like a month. And, well, Update 5 is happening. That's the whole thing. Like I just said, the whole way you play the game is changing. And we're also in the middle of building our main base in our new world. So it's like the perfect time for Update 5. Honestly, I kind of gambled on the update coming a little sooner in October. But here we are now. That's why there's been kind of a lull. But once Update 5 comes out, full force Satisfactory for a while. There's so much cool stuff to play with, and I am super excited. But anyway, that's kind of all my thoughts here with this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching, but have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.